Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this tutorial, we will discuss Siemens PLC S7-200, its CPU 224 SCDC relay, and its other types, their functions, their applications, and many more. We also discuss different kinds of input-output modules attached with this Siemens PLC, different kinds of CPU available in different variations, and their structures, and different kinds of modules, input and outputs, which will be attached with this PLC unit. Their brief description will be given, so stay tuned till to the end of this video. In this picture, we can see different sections of this PLC. First one is this one, and this is the output connection terminal. This is the output connection terminal. The second one, PLC supply terminal. These two, the terminal in the last, are the supply terminals of the PLC. Third one is the input connection terminal. This is the third one. This is the input side of the PLC. All these represent the inputs of the PLC with different kinds of addresses: I0.0, I0.1, I0.2, I0.3, and so on. On the output side, it will be Q0.0, Q0.1, Q0.2, and so on. Fourth one is the DB9 socket for RS485 series port. This is the fourth one. This is the fourth one, and this is the DB9 socket with which we can connect RS485 cable. And the fifth one is the 24 volt DC 280 milliampere current supply output. This is the fifth one. This is the output 24 volt DC or 280 milliampere, and these two terminals are used. L plus and M are used for the output. Sixth one is the input status LED. Here is the sixth one. These are the LEDs on the input sides. And the seventh one, output status LEDs. These are the LEDs which represent outputs. When the input is turned on, then this LED will be turned on. When any one of the output is turned on, then these LEDs, one of these LEDs will be turned on. Respective LED will be turned on. Eighth one is PLC status LED. These are the PLC status LEDs for run, stop mode and halt mode. And the ninth one is the mode switch. This is the ninth one. This is the mode switch with which we can manually run, terminate the process, or stop the PLC manually. And 10th one is the programming cartridge receptacle. This is the programming cartridge receptacle. We can click this cartridge to open this side. This is the cartridge side. And the 11th one is the input output expansion connector. This is the 11th one. This is the input output connection connector. This thing will be turned open, and with which we can connect the other PLCs and expand we can also connect here with the extension modules from this point, the point number 11. S7-200 CPU 224, its technical information is given here. Homologations, different kinds of, this number is used to low voltage electrical equipment directive. This number, you can read it yourself. Prescription for hardware. This number is relating to the electromagnetic compatibility, repealing directive, and so on. This number is residential, commercial, and light industrial environment. This number is referred to as the industrial environment, standard on electromagnetic immunity, and this number represents the industrial environment. These are the different kinds of homologations, and they represent different kinds of utilities. Now we will discuss first the power supply. Power supply range from 85 to 264 volt AC and 47 to 63 Hertz. Current on input side of this CPU is 4.5 volt ampere. CPU maximum 50 VA loading. Fuse which is not replaceable is of 2 ampere fuse, 250 volt slow acting. And environmentally, temperature range, it can work in the temperature range of 0 degree to 55 degrees centigrade, plus 32 Fahrenheit to 131 Fahrenheit degrees. Power dispensed 10 watt, and storage temperature it's minus 40 degree to plus 70 degrees centigrade, or in Fahrenheit minus 40 Fahrenheit to 158 Fahrenheit. These are its technical information. Now we will discuss S7-200 CPU 224 with input and outputs. This is the S7-200 224 CPU, and these are the different kinds of inputs which are attached according to your plant with this side. These are the digital inputs, and this is the side with the digital outputs. Digital outputs are attached with these outputs. For example, this output may be a relay, an LED, maybe a solenoid valve, contactor. Inputs may be a push button, toggle switch, limit switch, a sensor, and anything else. So this is the connection diagram of the inputs, and this is the connection diagram of the output. S7-200 CPU 224 digital input and output module. This is the digital input module. First one, input connection terminal. This is the input connection terminal of this module. And second one, this point number 2 is input status LEDs. These are the status LEDs, you can see, as we have discussed earlier, but these are the modules which are used to expand its inputs and outputs. And third one is the connector for the further expansion. This is the connector for the further expansion. These are the input and output extension modules. These are, I think, input extension, digital input extension modules, this one and this one. But this is the side to expand its inputs. This is the side to connect more modules in the series, and this is again the side input connection terminal. Inputs are connected here. This is the side 1 and this is also side 1. These are the sides for the input connection. You may connect 0.0, 0.1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 0.7, it means that 8 inputs can be attached with this module, and similarly 8 inputs can be connected with this module too. S7-200 CPU 224 with input output modules. This is the CPU of 224, Siemens PLC S7-200 224. This is the input extension module. 8 inputs are available from its CPU, and 8 inputs are now available from this module. So 16 inputs are available by the combination of this input CPU, by input module and the CPU. So total number of 16 inputs are available from this combination. S7-200 CPU 224 with input output modules. So in this case, S7-200 CPU 224 plus EM221 cross 2 and EM222 cross 1. It means that this is the PLC S7-200, and this is the input extension module. This is again the input extension module, as it is written with I, and this is the output extension module. It is written with the Q. Q represents the output, I represents the input. So this PLC consists of 8, 24 inputs, and outputs will be 8 and 8, 16 outputs. 24 inputs and 16 outputs are available from this combination unit of the PLC, including its modules, 2 input modules and 1 output module. S7-200 CPU 224 automation with input output modules. This is the side which represents PLC unit with an extension module, and we have connected different kinds of inputs with its CPU, and also we have connected some inputs with its expansion module, expansion module. So in this way we can connect input expansions of a PLC. This is again an output side of the PLC. These are the outputs, and this is the output extension module. So these outputs are taken from the CPU, and these outputs are taken from the output expansion module. In similar case, these inputs are taken from the input side of the CPU, and these inputs are taken from the input expansion module. S7-200 CPU 224 automation with input output modules. Here a combination of input output expansion modules are attached. This is the PLC CPU, and this is its input side, and inputs are connected here, and this is the output side, and the outputs are connected here. But the inputs and outputs are more than its number of inputs. Then to extend its number of inputs, we have connected extension module. This is the extension module to extend its inputs. This is again extension module to extend its inputs. This is the third one, and this is the fourth one. The 4 input extension modules are used here. And similarly, this is the side for the outputs. So these are the, we can see that this is also, these are the input extension modules. Similarly, the output which are taken from the output extension module. This is the output side of the PLC. This is again the output. These are the output extension module. These are the outputs taken from the output extension module. And similarly, all the outputs available from the extension modules are taken from this side, and these are this is the output side, and this is the input side. We can take input and output according to our plant requirement. PLC field companions. These are the different kinds of boxes that we deal with the physical. We deal in the plant section with physical application. This is the control box, consists of different kinds of PLCs. These are the outputs, different kinds of LEDs available to see the condition on the plant. And this is also the physical project which is working in the plant. This is the physical plant. These are its indicators, indicator lights. This is the panel box which is used to control these lights and this process in the field. These are different kinds of tools, different kinds of equipments available. This is the motor, maybe DC or AC motor. This is the solenoid valve. This is the relay, contactor. This is the speaker. This is again a motor. This is the sensor, and this is maybe a frequency drive to control the frequency or speed of a motor. Internal of S7-200 CPU 224 PLC. This is the PLC with casing. From this position, we place the power supply unit, which provides 224 volt, or in case of AC, it will power supply unit which provide us 24 volt DC. This is the control card, which is the CPU of this PLC. This is placed in the central position, and this power supply is placed here at this position. DC power supply, we have already discussed that DC power supply is a very important part of any control system. Performance of a control system first depends on the stability, noise rejection, and surge protection of DC power supply. Transistor logic control system normally works on 5 volt DC power supply, while CMOS logic control works from 3 volt to 18 volt DC. New generation microcontrollers are available to work with 3 volt DC power supply. Specification of power supply are related with the following parameters: size, power handling capability and efficiency, load regulation, line regulation, noise rejection, surge protection, input voltage range. First, the input comes in the form of AC in, then a bridge rectifier rectifies it, then a filter capacitor is used to remove then a bridge rectifies the input AC, cuts its negative part, then a filter capacitor removes its noise parts, and then a voltage regulator is used to regulate the DC power supply, which turns in the output form, which is available in the output form, which will be used to run the PLC unit. CPU, central processing unit. This is the PLC with casing. This is the PLC without casing, and internally we have PLC like this. One is the input side and the other one is the output side, and this is the position to connect the cable RS285. PLC block diagram. PLC CPU block diagram. PLC CPU consists of a microcontroller, and the inputs are coupled through an optocoupler. For example, this is the AC DC power supply. This supply turns on this optocoupler, and on the other side 24 volt DC is passed through this optocoupler to the input, and the input will be turned on. Whether it is a digital input or if it is the analog input, then the analog input will also be turned on using this optocoupler. And similarly, on the output side, this is the communication port. A program will be transferred through this communication port to the microcontroller, and when the power supply 24 volt DC supply provided to the input, at the same time it will be provided to the output, and when the input is turned on, then the optocoupler also turns on the relative output. For example, if input X0 is turned on and output is connected with Y5 or K0.2, then the relevant output will be turned on due to this optocoupler, because this optocoupler turns on the output. And similarly, if the analog output is available, then the analog output will also be turned on by the optocoupler. PLC CPU types for Siemens S7-200 family. S7-200 family has 4 types, different kinds of CPU available. DC. It means that its power supply is also DC, its inputs are also in the DC, and its output is also in the DC. DC relays mean that input is DC, its power supply is DC, and the output is in the relay form. AC DC it means that input is AC, power supply is AC, input is DC, and the output is also DC. AC DC relay, it means that the power supply is AC, input is DC, and output is available in the relay form. So this is the input side, this is the output side, this is the power supply, and this is the communication programming port. Power supply input type, output type. Input type is 24 volt. In case of AC, it is 85 volt or 260 volt AC. And in the form of output, it will be the output. In the case of DC, it will be 24 volt DC, and in the relay form, the potential free contact of a relay will be attached with it. Thank you so much for watching this video.